The name of my presentation today is Climate Change in the Anthropocene. After 100 years of debate, even skeptical scientists now concede the fact the Earth has warmed 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 150 years. One might think the debate is over, but it seems the global conversation has simply pivoted to whether humans are the cause of climate change. Some scientists believe so strongly that humans are the catalyst for this warming that they refer to the time since the Industrial Revolution as the Anthropocene. Others still believe the change to be natural. However, research shows today's climate change is due to carbon dioxide emissions from the burning of fossil fuels and changing land use. In her article, From Uncertain to Unequivocal, Diana Liberman reports that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change makes the important distinction that at least half of the warming we have experienced today is due to anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. Many scientists agree with this statement and even go as far as asserting that carbon dioxide is the most important greenhouse gas. Authors Will Steffen, Paul Carton, and John McNeil suggest in their article, The Anthropocene, Are Humans Now Overwhelming the Great Forces of Nature? That carbon dioxide is the single most important barometer for tracking human impact on the Earth's ecosystem because it is the primary emission from the burning of fossil fuels. To illustrate this evidence, I have created this visual. Scientists Bowden, Marlin, and Andres with the Carbon Dioxide Information Analysis Center provide data for global fossil fuel CO2 emissions from 1751 to 2009. I have converted it into a line graph, and as you can see, emissions have exploded since the end of the Industrial Revolution in 1850. Please notice the years that I have highlighted. In 1929, the stock market crashed. In 1979, the oil crisis hit. And in 2008, the global financial crisis hit. Notice how emissions dropped dramatically after each of these events. This data shows that carbon dioxide emissions correspond to human events and supports the point that humans are the catalyst for climate change. Unfortunately, fossil fuel emissions are not the only issue for climate. Next, we will discuss how changing land use adds to emissions. Scientists Keys, Klein, Goldowitz, Arthur Buson, Gerard Van Vreck, and Martine de Vos report that changing land use accounts for 1/5 of the total anthropogenic CO2 emissions in their paper, The Hyde 3.1 Spatially Explicit Database of Human-Induced Global Land Use Change over the past 12,000 years. Forests are important to the carbon cycle because they sequester carbon and reflect the sun's radiation. However, in their study, Climatic Impact of Global-Scale Deforestation, Radiative versus Non-Radiative Processes, Edouard Davin and Nathalie de Noble-de-Coudray report that by 2001, 15 to 30% of global forests were converted to pasture or cropland. Furthermore, scientists Bala, Caldera, Wickett, Phillips, Lobel, Dallaire, and Mirren showed that removing tropical forests in particular produces warming by adding carbon dioxide to the atmosphere and reducing the surface albedo effect. In their study, combined climate and carbon cycle effects of large-scale deforestation. Unfortunately, Davin and de Noble-de-Coudray go on to report that a large portion of the tropical forest will be lost to deforestation by the end of the 21st century. Earth is an ecosystem that has been in balance for 4 billion years. However, anthropogenic carbon dioxide emissions from the burning of fossil fuels and changing land use have interrupted that balance and changed our climate. The burning of fossil fuels and anthropic invention has increased CO2 emissions in the atmosphere from 275 parts per million in 1750 to over 380 parts per million today. Changing land use and the cutting down of our tropical forests is also releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and changing our global climate. It is difficult to deny human intervention upon the environment when these facts are understood. Our global conversation should then change from whether humans are the cause of climate change to what we need to do to stop the damage from continuing. Any questions?
Why do some scientists still argue that global warming could be natural?
Why do some scientists still argue that global warming could be natural? There are many reasons, but one of the common reasons is that the Earth has warmed naturally in the past. 56 million years ago, during a time scientists call the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, the Earth warmed 9 degrees Fahrenheit in response to huge injections of greenhouse gases. The problem with that line of thinking is that those gases were from the supercontinent Pangaea breaking apart. And we don't have that today. So either you have to find natural sources today that can account for warming, or you have to yield to the argument that anthropogenic greenhouse gases are the cause today.
Are there any natural sources of carbon dioxide today?
Yes, there are still natural sources of carbon dioxide today. They can include volcanic outgassing, photosynthesis, forest fires, and the breakdown of organic matter. Unfortunately, these natural sources still cannot account for how much carbon dioxide has been accumulating in our atmosphere. Thank you.